The walls of the apartment were too white, too many clinics, clean in a way that was uncomfortable, as if they were hiding something behind them. There were no photos on the shelves. There were no pictures on the walls, just symmetrical furniture, lined up like soldiers ready to obey routine. Inside, the silence was dense, charged with a subtle electricity, as if the objects themselves were waiting for something, or someone, that would not return. In the dim light of the evening, she sat on the edge of the sofa, her shoulders hunched as if carrying an ancient weight. Eyes lost in some memory that insisted on returning, even after being exorcised so many times. The sound of traffic outside came muffled through the closed window, but inside there was an even greater noise. The echo of everything that wasn't said, of everything that was endured in silence, of everything that she thought was love, but was never more than the fear of being alone. The cell phone vibrated sometimes. She looked, didn't respond. The saved name was still the same even after everything. There was something pathetic about that notification. Like a dog that returns to the gate even after being chased away 100 times. And she knew, perhaps she always knew, that it wasn't love. It was dread disguised as longing. It was the attachment of a soul that learned to confuse presence with security, attention with affection, control with affection. Months before, the story had begun like so many others. Two strangers who are attracted to each other by the absence of themselves. He arrived as vices arrive, subtle, charming, necessary. He had the kind of voice that seemed to soothe broken parts and the kind of touch that made it seem like everything could be fixed. For weeks, he was a refuge. For months, she became an extension of him. And at some point, as imperceptible as a tremor before an earthquake, she stopped being a whole person and was just a reflection of what he allowed her to be. The lights of the house flickered as she passed through the hallway, as if the place was breathing, suffocated by the repetition of a story that already knew its end. Every object there seemed to have witnessed the theater of attachment. The glasses still arranged in pairs, the bed made on one side, the books that she pretended to read while waiting for messages that never came at the agreed time. She got used to begging for crumbs as if giving thanks for banquets. And then came the absence. Not the physical absence. That's easy to recognize. But the emotional absence, the one that invades, even when the other is still there. The eyes that no longer meet. The monosyllabic answers. The touch that has become an obligation. And still, she insisted. Because attachment does this. It screams louder when it realizes that it is going to be left. She began to mold herself to fit his gaps. She stopped talking about what she liked, stopped dressing up like before, learned to laugh at the right time, not to show sadness, to appear easygoing. And all this in the name of a feeling she called love, but which was just the fear of being abandoned again. There was a day, however, when the mirror betrayed her. Not because of the features marked by time, but because of the emptiness in his eyes, by the realization that she no longer knew who she was without him. The face staring back was that of a woman who had exchanged her essence for unfulfilled promises. It was there, in silence, that something in her began to crumble, not with screams or heroic decisions, but with the slowness of those who need to learn to unlearn. Flashbacks came back like shrapnel. The canceled dinner with a poorly told excuse, his gaze lost in his cell phone, while she talked about her fears, the veiled comparisons with other women, the moments when he disappeared for days and came back as if nothing had happened. Each memory was a brick dismantling the fantasy that she herself supported, the construction of a story that only existed in her desire not to be alone. Once she followed him, not physically but in networks, in messages, in signals. He discovered the obvious that he refused to see. He was never there in one piece. It just took up space. And when she confronted this within herself, she realized that the pain was not for his loss, but for what she projected onto him. It was the absence of herself that hurt. Attachment is like that. It is addictive. It confuses. It feeds hopes with small crumbs of presence, but it never offers rest. There is never peace in attachment, just anxiety. Only the eternal wait for something that looks like love, but is a shadow of it. That night, she deleted the old messages. Not like someone erases any number, but like a ritual. Like someone burning letters from a prisoner of war. Each click was a release, an unceremonious farewell. The cell phone fell next to the sofa, and for the first time in a long time, she breathed like someone occupying her own body. Outside, the rain was beginning to fall. Slow, cold, persistent. He washed the window panes as if he was also cleaning the heavy atmosphere of that place. The city continued, indifferent to the silent mourning that it experienced inside. And perhaps that was the cruelest thing. Life doesn't stop when we suffer. She knew she wasn't cured. I still felt the urge to look for him in the middle of the night. I still had confusing dreams where everything seemed to go back to the beginning. But now there was something different. She no longer blamed herself. She no longer found herself difficult to love. He understood, with pain, that everything he accepted was not love. It was hunger. Hunger for validation. Hungry to be chosen. Hunger for emotional peace that you never found in his arms, because it never existed there. The following days were silent, almost sacred. She didn't tell anyone. He didn't need to announce his cure. He continued living, rediscovering his own tastes, facing absences like someone cleaning a room after a windstorm. Slowly, she learned to be alone without feeling lonely. Enjoying your own company. Understanding that true love does not require you to diminish yourself. It doesn't force you to guess. Doesn't abandon you when you need it. Love doesn't hurt with constancy, and it doesn't leave you in doubt every day. One afternoon, as she crossed the street towards the cafe she used to avoid because of her memories of him, she realized something. The fear of losing someone only exists when you believe you need that person to feel whole. And maybe, just maybe, what she called love was just barely healed attachment, disguised as passion, fueled by silent promises and hope that refused to die. And when she walked into that cafe, ordered her favorite coffee, and sat at the table she had previously avoided, there was no fanfare, no cinematic redemption. There was only one woman sitting with herself, complete, real, and that was more than enough. Because at the end of the day, love is not made of urgency. It is made of presence. And no one finds that while still trying to save what was never real. Now tell me, how many times have you also called love what was just the fear of being alone? If this touched you, please like, share, and comment below. Maybe someone you love needs to hear this too.